Welcome to the Retiring Canada podcast, where our mission is to educate and empower you to make the most informed, rational, and productive financial decisions. Hosted by certified financial planner, author, and chartered investment manager Michael Isbister, you'll go behind the scenes to uncover the tips and strategies to help you invest smarter, optimize your retirement income, and reduce the amount of tax you pay. Michael is an investment advisor with Fundamental Wealth, a trade name of Harbourfront Wealth Management, an IROC dealer. And now, here's your host, Michael Isbister.
Hello everyone, and welcome again to the Retiring Canada podcast. In today's episode, we're going to discuss the 5 important steps to planning a secure retirement. Specifically, I'm going to chat about the 5-step critical path to a secure retirement, how a standalone decision can derail your retirement, the importance of ongoing monitoring and adjustments when life throws you a curveball, and lastly, as always, a few action items for you to consider. Now, you've worked hard your entire career. Maybe you're a medical professional who has amassed their wealth inside of a professional corporation. Or maybe you're an experienced tradesman who diligently added to their pension plan that is now worth north of $500,000. Or maybe you're a business owner who focused all their efforts into a business to then sell to fund your retirement. No matter what your path to accumulating wealth, there is one common thread. We all want to have a secure retirement without the worry of running out of money. However, the path that we follow in life inevitably has its ups and downs. In the first few years of retirement, maybe you experience a health event that triggers substantial long-term care costs. Maybe there is another economic downturn that stifles your retirement nest egg. Or maybe interest rates drop again, which would result in a drop to more secure sources of income. Leading Canadians through these life hurdles is what led me to become a retirement planner. Someone focused on financial advising, but with a specialty in the retirement arena. I've sat with hundreds and hundreds of families over the course of my career, and that experience combined with my many families that I've helped retire has led me to the creation of what we call the Fundamental Retirement Plan. The Fundamental Retirement Plan, or FRP as we call it, is a structured process that results in a final retirement plan that's customized to your particular retirement needs and concerns. It covers 5 key areas, which we're going to get into in today's podcast, of what's most important to be successful, in our opinion, when it comes to retirement planning. This process was built by a team of advisors that you have at your disposal and works in conjunction with the investment strategy by our in-house investment team at Fundamental Wealth and at Harbourfront. What this means for you is that you've checked off the important boxes that we've learned over our years of experience that we find are most critical to retirement success. And it's also a timeline for execution and a way to monitor progress so we can make adjustments in real time to make sure you're staying on track for your retirement. One of the biggest concepts to understand about retirement planning is that every single decision you make is interconnected. When you take the CPP benefit, how much you'll spend in retirement, from which accounts you draw from, all of these impact your account balances, all of these impact how long your money will last, and how much income you'll have to spend. These are the big questions that we have in retirement. Do I have enough? How long will my money last? If something happens to me, will my family be okay? How do I pay less tax? All of these things are interconnected. So a lot of times we see people come in for the first time, maybe they're year 1 or 2 or 3 years into retirement, and things are going pretty well and they feel like they're okay. And a lot of time that's true. But what's happening is they're setting down a particular path. Every decision that you make sets you on a certain trajectory. Oftentimes in the first couple of years of retirement, we don't have enough visibility into how the decisions we're making today are impacting the trajectory of our expected account balances. Things oftentimes can feel like things are going well, but we don't have the visibility to quite see, hey, am I on the right path? Or could I be making better decisions that put me into a better trajectory? The path you're on now may be going smoothly for a few years, which can lead us to a sense of complacency or false sense of security, to think, hey, what I'm doing, it's working right now. I'm on the right path. I'm 2-3 years into retirement, and I still have the same amount of money that I started with. And that's good, but ultimately your path can seriously start to diverge into the red, meaning you're starting to run out of money, or into the green where, hey, maybe you're actually thriving and growing. These are all different possible paths that the decisions you're making today and over the next several years could potentially put you on. The purpose of the fundamental retirement plan is to 1. Identify who you are, what's important to you, and how do we determine what success means for you. Then we have a structured process that's based on your investment allocation, generating income, reducing tax, looking out for healthcare, and then estate planning. The fundamental retirement plan isn't just an initial plan that's set it and forget it. It's a timeline for execution of the key components and also a process to continue to monitor and make adjustments on the fly when necessary. As long as we have visibility into how the decisions we're making today are impacting our future security, what we find is you tend to live a more comfortable retirement, and that means comfort around the level of income that you have and that you're receiving and how much you're spending. Not to mention what we're doing from a tax perspective to make sure you don't carry a ton of risk and potentially pay too much tax down the road. There are 5 key areas we feel are important to have a plan for leading into retirement, at retirement, and then post-retirement as we continue to monitor and adjust as needed. Monitoring is an extremely critical part of the fundamental retirement plan because, again, we don't really know where on that trajectory in years 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5 where you are. So that's why it's important to continually monitor to see as you continue to progress. And you know what? It comes down to a relationship, a partnership moving forward that allows us to have visibility into how the decisions we're making are impacting your trajectory and also allow us to change in real time when circumstances require. Now, external events like stock market crashes or the economy going into the tank, or internal decisions such as how much we're spending, or if you want to buy a vacation home, or maybe you want to gift to the kids or grandkids. These are all decisions that impact the trajectory that we're on. So having that relationship and having that visibility is what allows us to be at peace and know, hey, we can do this or we can't do these things. And maybe these are the parameters that we should be operating in and continue to operate in so that we continue down a certain path that we all feel comfortable with. So with that, let's go through the fundamental retirement plan process. Step 1 of the fundamental retirement plan is what we call allocation. This is a very critical step because after we've learned who you are, how you define retirement success, and what your goals are, we make a recommendation of how you should spread your money across different asset classes. So think stocks and other low-risk securities. One way to think about the allocation and why it's so important is if you think about it like ingredients in a recipe. If you have too much sugar or maybe too much salt, you're not going to have something that's really tasty to you or really anyone else. They'll, probably not want to eat it. Now, with the allocation in your retirement, we're not talking about a bad pot roast that you can just redo. You have plenty of time, maybe next weekend, but we're talking about retirement. If you get the ingredients wrong in your retirement and you have the wrong allocation, you could possibly run out of money. Maybe you have to go back to work. Maybe you don't have enough money to help pay healthcare expenses for your spouse, or maybe there's not enough to take care of your surviving spouse after you're gone. So this is a very critical first step in the process, allocation, and again, that's why it's step one. The framework that we use to build your allocation is across 4 buckets. We have, the peace of mind bucket, we have multiple streams of income, we have growth, and then we have, the defensive or the alternative bucket. Some of our clients have money spread across all 4 allocations or buckets. And for other clients, it makes sense to have just 2 or maybe 3 of these in a core area. But that's the framework that we use based on your goals and your circumstances to build out the investment allocation for your retirement. Step 2 of the FRP is the income planning process. We want to see multiple streams of income in retirement. We'd like to live off interest as much as possible, not get into that principle, but we also want to know where our income is coming from. Is it coming from the retirement accounts? Is it coming from the non-retirement accounts? How much will you, receive from employer pensions and the Canadian pension plan or old age security? Because, in retirement, where you withdraw your income from determines how much tax you will pay. And also, instead of having a static 4% rule, we want to have a more dynamic plan, a plan that adjusts our income either up or down based on trajectory and the path that you're currently on. And we call this, dynamic planning, your retirement income guardrails. Step 3 of the FRP is tax planning. Tax planning is an extremely critical part of this overall process, but the reason it's step 3 is because, we don't have that investment allocation and we don't know what it is. And we don't know what, the retirement income is going to be necessarily. So we want to figure those 2 items out first before we can start to actually do that tax analysis. Now, in order to provide the best possible advice that is, in your best interest, you must look at taxes and the impact taxes have on the amount of income you're actually going to keep and put in your pocket. A tax plan is an extremely critical part of the fundamental retirement plan. Step 4 of the process is long-term care planning. Now, the costs and access of long-term care can significantly derail your retirement, especially if one spouse needs care while the other continues to be independent, putting significant stress on the household finances. And you know what? I don't want this to happen to you. And this is why we built this fundamental retirement plan. There's some questions come up, is long-term care an appropriate solution for you? How do we, not have high premiums that continue to go up over time throughout retirement? What provincial programs or benefits are available? At the end of the day, addressing the potential costs of healthcare in retirement is another critical step because one mistake here can cause everything else to blow up. Step 5 of the fundamental retirement plan is the estate planning piece. Now, a big mistake that we see clients make all the time is that they go to their lawyer, they get their estate documents, and then they never tell us. What we've done is, we've built this estate planning into our actual financial planning process. So, first and foremost, your financial planner should be the quarterback of this overall estate planning process. This way, assets that need to get retitled, to go into a trust or to other entities, we make sure that gets done. Beneficiaries that need to be changed, we make sure that gets done too. But, we also have conversations about, how your estate is going to be disposed of. We don't want your money going to, your children and then half of that going to your children's future ex-spouse. And, there's a lot of aspects beyond having a will, maybe a living trust and, your medical directives that we need to address. And we've built that into the fundamental retirement plan. So there you have it. Those are the 5 steps of our fundamental retirement plan process that we customize for you. Not only are these actionable items that we feel can improve your overall retirement, providing better peace of mind, more visibility into the future, more transparency, and clarity around some of the items that are, most important in retirement. It's also a timeline for execution of these specific items. It's also, a structure and a framework that allows us to continually to monitor your retirement and to make sure your plan is on the correct trajectory and that you have a successful retirement. So to learn more about the fundamental retirement process, you can visit fundamentalwealth.ca. Okay, so that'll do it for today. Here's your action item. If you are nearing retirement or recently retired and haven't checked all these boxes to ensure you have a secure retirement, be sure you do. Remember that all the choices you are making now are interconnected and that making independent decisions on each of these areas individually could have a disastrous consequence to your retirement future. Okay, so that'll do it for today's episode. For all the links and resources discussed, please check out the link in our show notes or visit retiringcanada.ca. If you've been enjoying the show, please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. If you haven't yet, be sure to sign up for my weekly Retiring Canada newsletter. And hey, when it comes to your retirement, don't take chances. Make a plan so you can retire with confidence.
All comments are of a general nature and should not be relied upon as individual advice. The views and opinions expressed in this commentary may not necessarily reflect those of Harbourfront Wealth Management. While every attempt is made to ensure accuracy, facts and figures are not guaranteed. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing or tax advice. Please seek advice from your accountant regarding anything raised in the content of the podcast regarding your individual tax situation. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.